Yes, you better watch out because there's these really sharp edges, and I already got poked, so.
They're going back. They're going back.
We will be turning garden tools into fish bait. Time for another episode of Anthony Fong Fishing. Welcome to Anthony Fong Fishing, how to make a tool to catch free bait on the beach. So, I'm Anthony, and in this video, I am going to be using tools as well as materials that I find around my house to build a sort of net-like tool that'll help me catch sand crabs, also called sand fleas, from the beach to use as bait. So these crabs are also called Pacific mole crabs, and there are thousands of them that frequent the beaches on the California coast, and they make prime bait for stripers, perch, really anything out here. So first we're going to check my shed to see if we can find anything that we can use to make our tool with. Preferably something with a handle that we can frame some wire mesh around. Alright, so we have all our handle stuff back here, and I'm looking through this. Won't work. There's no way to put a wire mesh around this, so we gotta keep looking. But this, I think this is what we might use. So this is just an old rake that we have, but see, we have it's a hole here, which means that when we rake the sand, we'll have a wire mesh going like this, kind of like a butterfly net, and then it'll go in here, and then everything will get trapped. So then we need some wire mesh, and I think we have some over here. Yes, we do have some wire mesh here, but I don't know if this is the right sizing of square, so I think we will check my grandpa's shed next and see what he has. So we are at my grandpa's house, and we're trying to find some materials to make our tool with. So preferably we are going to be looking for a handle. We're going to attach some wire mesh to, which we will also be trying to find. So let's go. This is a very big shed. So right off the bat, I can see some pretty good stuff. So this catches my eye real good. We found one of these at our house already, as you guys saw. So we don't need another one, but if we find one that has a bigger hole here, then we will take it. I see there's another one right here. And then, ooh, there's even a third one. But these are all relatively close to what we have, so we're not going to take them. We could just use ours. So now looking for some mesh, I find there's this mesh. This is good. This is kind of what we're looking for, but the squares are a little bit too big to my liking. I think the crabs will fall through here. So, oh, here, perfect. Here it is. This is very tiny. I know the crabs for sure will not fall through here. This is perfect. I think we'll take this and we'll get out of here. So now that we're back, I have all my materials. I have, for the handle and frame part, I have a rake that we got from my shed. And then for my grandpa's shed, I got some wire mesh. I don't know the size, but it's very small. It's a smaller squares than normal. We will also need zip ties. So I just have a lot of them. Any size will work, honestly. They just gotta be able to fit through the mesh and the rake. And then we need clippers to clip off the ends of the zip ties. as well as cut the wire mesh. So the rake we have has a hole in the rake, as you can see, and this is what the sand and the sand fleas are going to be passing through, and then we will build sort of like a butterfly net design mesh using the mesh to catch everything. So before I start attaching the wire mesh to the rake itself, I am going to reinforce the mesh a little because just the thickness on its own, I think it's a little bit weak and we want to prolong the life of it. So I think I'm going to take about an inch or so of the mesh and then just bend it downward over itself. And that's good. So then we will take that part and then we will zip tie it to there like I said. So to get started on that, I took out a few zip ties. And I think that we will go from the top. So it'll be like this. It'll go through the mesh. Through the mesh itself. Let me just pull that through. And then when we zip tie it, we make it so it's on top. Now that's a more clean look. And then we will cut off the sides later. So now I will just keep going with this. All right, so now I have a zip tie under each prong, well, in between them, and I went through the mesh. And you want to see like how deep of a mesh do you want it? Do you want to cut it? So I think I kind of want it butterflied out a lot more. So I think I'll cut it here to start out with. So take the snips and start cutting. We'll set aside the excess. So I've cut it off. I have also doubled it over a few centimeters just to reinforce it a little. So now it's going to be attached, this part right here, to the frame right here, and it's going to look like that. So I'm going to zip tie it to there. You will probably need 2 zip ties for this if you are making it. And also think about the nub placement, but this is going to be on top of everything, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. One there, and then we will do one exactly on the other side as well. You see that I have left excess on the sides, so it's not going to be like this. I have left the excess on the sides because we are going to cut them and then we'll fold them in to create the sides, and they will also be flush with the edges of the rake prongs. I need to bend and zip tie the edges of the mesh to the actual frame itself because everything will be going through here, not over here. So we're just going to take zip ties. We're going to have to think about the placement though on here. Now that's good, and now we will move on to finishing up the sides. All right, so now that we have it all zip tied, we have to do the sides. So I think we're going to cut, you know how I left excess? So I think we're gonna cut it down a bit, and then we're gonna take the two sides, and then we're going to fold them inward, and it'll create a seam that we can then zip tie off if we need to. So I'm just going to start cutting just the excess. Alrighty, so we came to a decision. We are not going to cut it and then flap it in as originally, because then that would use zip ties on the side, which would mean that it looks a little bit messy. We think we found a way to do it without the zip ties. So we're going to, Angela will help me with this, but we're going to zip tie the top parts to the frame, and then using the bottom part there will still be a hole, but then we're going to try to take it and flap it upward. So now that we've held it downward, we're actually going to zip tie it just to secure it.
Right.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 zip ties should do. Now that that's done, we will do the same thing to the other side. Now I have completed the other side, so both sides are completed, and now we are basically done, but we need to cut off all the tag ends of the zip tie, and then it'll truly look like a piece of art. Now that we have finished it, it looks really good, and we're ready to go catch some bait. So now I'm going to show you guys how to. Alright, so we're here at the beach, and the way to find these sand crabs is you'll see little V's in the water, or when the water comes up and it goes out, you'll see holes. So you see a bunch of little V's here. These are all little ones. I don't know if that's coming up, but there's a bunch of little V's. You can see little holes in the water. All small ones. All small ones. We did get a bunch of small ones.
Wait, let's come up here.
Yeah.
Here, we can set down.
Alright, so we did get a bunch of small ones. So I'm gonna see if we can. These ones are actually too small to, and they fall through, but you can see they're right there. You can actually go through and there's a bunch of small ones. They're too small to use as bait, but we'll keep them anyway, and then we'll release them when we're done. All small ones. See the holes in the sand? That's where they are. Angela, watch out. Anything? Just small ones. Alright, this is it. This is gonna be a good one.
All small ones.
All small ones, but there's tons of them.
See, look where they're at.
We have been collecting the small ones in our bucket. If you just stir it around, you can see we did get one big one, which is a lot actually. We got a lot. A medium one, not a big one.
This looks like a good wave. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, we got wet.
We got one.
We got one.
We got one.
Pretty decent
This is
size.
a big one.
The other one is just a piece of shell, but we're gonna go take it up and put it in our little bucket.
We got a nice big one. The wave came up on us unexpectedly, but we got one still. So put it in with the rest. So for the two ones that we caught today that were pretty big, this one is a soft shell sand crab. You can tell because the shell is soft and you can feel you can put it in, poke it in a little. This one on the other hand is a hard shell sand crab. And the difference, they're the same kind, but the only difference is that they molt. So this one has molted recently because it's a soft shell. As for this one, should be molting very soon. On the bottom of them, you can see they have little legs, and as you can see, this is from the top view, and the head is actually right here, and if you look closely you can see eyes if you did, and then they have these little antennas that pop up in the sand, and then this is their backside, and then on the underside you can see they have all these little legs, and then there's this little, you see this pointier one. This is what they use to dig into the sand, and they dig in there to hide from predators. Here, the predators that would eat it were striped bass and perch, and they just use this to dig into the sand to hide from them. So, we're gonna release them now. So we'll just get them all riled up a little, and then here they go. Oh, there they go. Look at them, look at them, look at them, look at them. Oh, they're going back. They're going back. Look at them, come over here, come over here. Look at them, they're still going back. Still going, they're still going. Well, that concludes today's bait catching. The rake did work. Big surprise, but it worked pretty good actually. Not that much bait though out there. Well, there's a lot of the sand fleas, but most of them were too tiny and they just kept falling through the mesh. We did get two pretty decent sized ones, a soft shell and a hard shell, and we just released them. We didn't use them as bait today, but we will probably come back some other time, get some big ones and use them as bait and get on some striped bass and perch. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give us a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you made it to the end, thank you. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, as well as follow me on Instagram, Anthony Fong Fishing, to find the latest about my fishing adventures and the rest of our channel. Thank you.